Now, you guys aren't likely to know any different, but since my last book review went live, I got a new phone, and this phone doesn't have an SD card slot, so subsequently I lost the pre-recorded videos that I had on there. I'm usually 2 or 3 books ahead of what book reviews are coming out, so I have to re-record this one and the one after it. But this book review is about Warhorse by Michael Morpurgo. Now, Michael Morpurgo is an author that I read in primary school, or was read to me by my teachers in primary school. And I remember reading Kensuke's Kingdom, I think it was. And I saw this, it was in Sainsbury's, it was only about £3. It was for the centenary of the... no, it wasn't the centenary, that was 2 years ago, wasn't it? Something to do with the war. I think it was the 75th anniversary of VE Day. Something like that. But I picked it up, bought it, and I read it. And it's a kid's book, as all Michael Morpurgo books are, detailing the events of this warhorse, Joey, that is raised from a foal. He's bought into a farm, he goes to work in a farm, and then he gets signed up and sent off to fight in the First World War, and he changes sides back and forth. He gets captured by the Germans, and he's a horse for them for a while. He's recaptured by the British, and he's a horse for them for a while. And the story is that his owner pledges to find him again. When he goes off to war, his owner pledges to find him again, and that's the story throughout the whole book, is him wondering if he's ever going to see his owner again. And it details the horrors of war. As many soldiers wondered, no doubt, whether they'd see their families again in that war, this sort of puts a neutral perspective on it, because where most people in the war would have had some sort of partiality, some sort of bias towards the Germans or the English, this is a horse, and it's got no stake in human wars, and it really plays off on the fact that the main character is a horse, and he's got no play in human war, and he just wants to go home and be with his owner and ride in the fields again and all that shit. So it's just really, really good at providing an impartial aspect to analysing the First World War and the horrors of the First World War. As you know, well, as I know, you may not know, Michael Morpurgo is a pacifist. He wears the white poppy alongside the red poppy every Remembrance Day. He's long said that war is something that is just horrendous. He grew up in the shadow of the Second World War, so he knows all about war and the effect that it can have on lives. So this, I think, is something that every school child should read, or should have read to them in school. We already teach our kids about the glory days of the Empire and the Second World War and Churchill and how Great Britain was in those eras, but we should be teaching our kids things like this, because this is the sort of message that we want our kids to grow up with. This is the sort of message that we want kids to go into adulthood holding. So hopefully in a couple of generations' time we have a ruling generation that is dedicated to peace and is not nostalgic about war, because war is not something, in my personal opinion, that you should be nostalgic about. Go ahead and give that a read. That was Warhorse by Michael Morpurgo. Thoroughly interesting. It's got a good moral message for kids to absorb. It's easily accessible because it's a kid's book. It's just really enjoyable. So go ahead, pick it up. Warhorse, Michael Morpurgo, and I'll see you in the next one.